But at the same time, like, you know, now being an older guy working, you know, in the working world, I look back and I'm like, okay, it happened for a reason. And I feel like I could have, you know, I was so close and I could have gotten to that next level if, you know, definitely the knee or the back didn't happen.
Yeah. So I looked at you as a pro. 6'9", can shoot the three, can finish around the rim. You know what I'm saying? Play smart, didn't do anything to hurt you.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as I'm on the court, we got a chance. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm on the team, we got a chance. So that's kind of, you know, how I approach things. What up, man? It's your boy, Shadzilla. Welcome to the Developing Athletes Podcast. I got my main man right here with me, Cam Krystkowiak. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no. So, Cam, man, we won the Pro-Am a couple years ago in Atlanta. I think Atlanta has one of the best Pro-Ams ever. Everybody say it's, what they say? What's the one out of L.A.? Breon, what's the one out of L.A.? Well, see,
LeBron was in it the other year. They always that.
Dunbar.
Oh, Drew League.
Yeah,
Drew League.
Nah, Atlanta got the best Pro-Am. This is where everybody comes from for the summer. So, you know, I think, you know, and we ran through that league. I think we had like 1 or 2 losses.
Man, yeah.
You know, and then when we ran through round 1 and 2 of the playoffs, we didn't even have one of our best players. Joe wasn't even there. And then when he came back, that was just like icing on the cake. But
was.
I think you was one of the real glue pieces that came through. And you was virtually unknown. You know what I'm saying? Like at first you didn't start like, hey, he's 6'9", but we got to see what he can do. And then once I put you out there, like, man, bro can play. You start starting. You know, stretch the floor, shoot the three. You know, and then we just kind of stayed in contact. So now, I know you went to an Ivy League school in Dartmouth, but tell us about the earlier years growing up in San Diego. I know you bounced around a little bit. Kind of take us through that.
Yeah. So I had a pretty interesting childhood, pretty nomadic childhood. My dad was a basketball coach, so naturally, kind of as he grew in his you know, his career, we were bouncing around. I lived in, up to this point now, it's crazy. I've lived in 13 states, and in the last 4 years, I think maybe 5, 6 states in the last 4 years. So I've been all over the place. Born in Montana, quickly moved actually to Atlanta for a year and a half. My little brother was born here, so been all over. But for me, getting settled in Salt Lake City was kind of like the first real, you know, point of permanence. It felt like in my life. So I spent about 8 years in Salt Lake City. My dad was coaching at the University of Utah. I got through middle school, got through high school, had a group of friends. You know, kind of felt like I had my feet under me a little bit, and then obviously left for school. But I had a very cool childhood. I wouldn't lie, like, being able to follow my dad around, go to games, go to the practice facility, be hanging out with a bunch of pro hoopers that, you know, we're all human beings and were very nice to me, and get to go on the buses and the team planes. Man, that
had to be a dope experience.
It was very cool.
So I know you say he coached college, but your dad played in the NBA, right? Yeah,
so he played 10 years in the league. You know, he spent some time with a lot of the legends. He was with Shaq and Kobe with the Lakers, Kobe's rookie year, actually. That was towards the end of his career. He played with Jordan, you know, kind of everybody across the board. Has some really cool stories. Super close with Charles Barkley now. And, you know, he's got a cool group of friends, and I'm just, you know, lucky to be able to, you know, be a part of that a little bit.
Nah, that's good, man. Like, man, tell me how it was, like, being around the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, I know sometimes when you're just born in it, a lot of people kind of take it for granted.
For sure.
But kind of tell me your experience, like just being around, like seeing Kobe, seeing Shaq, like seeing all these people that a lot of people idolize via the TV, the television.
Yeah.
Like just being around it. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, honestly, I wouldn't be lying if I said I didn't kind of take it for granted, just being a young kid, kind of not really knowing what I had in front of me. But there's some, you know, I could share 100 different stories. You know, I'd say one that comes to mind was Milwaukee. My dad was the head coach in Milwaukee for a year and a half, 2 years. And the Celtics came to play Milwaukee, and I was a diehard Celtics fan. Paul Pierce was my guy, KG. They came into town that night. I came to the game like 2 hours early with my dad, was out on the court shooting, kind of, you know, just messing around. After the game ends, keep in mind, I'm wearing a full Celtics jersey, like headband, full outfit, hoop shoes on, ready to go. My dad's the coach of the Bucks. I follow Paul into the locker room, the Celtics locker room.
Paul Pierce.
Yes, and I'm like, I'm maybe 6 or 7, little kid running around. No one knows who I am. I go in there. I'm like, yo, that's Paul Pierce. Like, what's up, Paul? Are you Paul? He looks at me dead in the face and goes, do I look like Paul to you? Do I look like a Paul to you? And I immediately froze up and was like, oh, like shit. I might have done something wrong, but he ended up being the nicest guy. Stayed after, talked to me, took pictures. But it was, looking back, like, you know, I could only do so much as a little kid, not really knowing what I had in front of me. But it was, you know, experiences that a lot of people just will never have.
I'm smiling over here just living through you as if I was the kid, because I know, like, if I was in that situation, man, it would have been just so bliss. Like, man, it's all my idols, and you get to see the behind the scenes and all that stuff. I was actually fortunate to be, when I was in junior college and I started getting recruited, I was invited to like a Detroit Pistons game, and they had played the Cavs, and that was LeBron's rookie year. Shout out to Uncle Wes. And just seeing that, and I was a grown man at that point. I was 18, 19 years old, and I was in awe, and I was trying to make my own way through it as well, but it was still just like surreal. Like, man, so this is what happens behind like in the back, you know what I'm saying? So it was crazy, man. So your dad played in the NBA, you was around the NBA growing up, and you went to an Ivy League school, Dartmouth. Let's talk about that. Like, did you have NBA aspirations? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's a little bit of pressure, even if it's unspoken. I will say my parents never made me play basketball. You know, they wanted me to do what I wanted to do, but there was kind of an unspoken pressure in the house. Like, the boys are going to hoop, and, you know, the girls are going to do either hoops or volleyball. So, and I have 4 siblings, all younger. So we're all either hoops or volleyball. So, but yeah, for me, like, I'd say it really got serious in high school, freshman year. I wasn't, you know, having bounced around so much, not really getting, you know, my feet under me with a specific team growing up, or, you know, like those little league teams. I wasn't that good, and I was a late bloomer. I was skinny. I wasn't that tall, actually.
Being a late bloomer is good, actually, but go ahead.
It was. It was a blessing in disguise, and it took me a while to realize that. But high school, freshman year, I think I grew like 7 inches, 6 inches, got into like 6'5", and was like, okay, you know, now's the time to get serious. I dropped baseball, you know, stopped playing video games. I was like, all right, we're in the gym now. And, you know, my dad's obviously very involved. We got a gym at the crib, and he's putting me and my brothers through workouts, one-on-one, very competitive. But yeah, that point in time was like, man, okay, I'm gonna play in college, and my goal is to play in the NBA. I want to be like my dad. You know, it's not that far away. It's not that unrealistic. I got blessed with the height, so, you know, I checked one of the boxes already. But yeah, it was tunnel vision, like NBA. It's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, no, that's dope. So as with a lot of athletes, right? A lot of us have aspirations of going to the next level, whether it's NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, going to the show. When did you realize, like, maybe I have to pivot and go into the workforce? Because just like when I have NBA or NFL players on this podcast, there's stories like yours that needs to be told as well. Someone who had the aspirations but decided to pivot and just go into the workforce. So tell us about the decision making on that.
Yeah, no, I think it started. I wouldn't say it started when I committed to Dartmouth, because my goal was still to get to the league and see how far I could take things and at least play overseas. But I knew that by going to Dartmouth and by not playing for my dad, I was maybe putting the basketball aspirations in my back pocket a little bit, and you know, emphasizing the backup plan of getting a good degree, and knowing that I'll be able to get in the workforce and not have too many problems there. So I'd say, you know, looking back, I do regret not trying to go play for my pops and just seeing how far I could take hoops. But at the same time, like, I went to a great school, met a great group of people, learned a lot, you know, went through the ups and downs of mid-major basketball and not being a star. And, you know, I'm super grateful for that. But yeah, it started to hit, I'd say really the injuries is what, you know, really was what snapped me out of it. And I'm both grateful for it and ungrateful for it because it wasn't fun, and I feel like I could have, I was so close and I could have gotten to that next level if
Most definitely.
the knee or the back didn't happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, now being an older guy working, in the working world, I look back and I'm like, okay, it happened for a reason. It's going to happen to everybody at some point.
Yeah.
I also wasn't playing a high major level game as much as I wanted to be. Like, I was very inconsistent. I'd have great games and then I'd have very quiet games, and I couldn't really get out of my own head and kind of, be on the up and up and just kind of be on the, the growth trajectory. I was up and down. So,
Yeah.
as I got older, I was able to like step back and go, okay, I need to have this degree backup plan, but let's see where we can go with hoops.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something because I coached you in the pro-am, and for those you don't know, the pro-am is short for pro and amateur, and that's where in the summer when the NBA is out of season and college is out of season, this was the pros and the amateurs come and have this big summer long tournament. And I didn't know Cam from Adam, right?
Yeah.
But first game came off the bench, played solid. And then you ended up starting, right? So I actually pulled you to the side and asked you, when somebody pull you to the side, that's when you know you cooking, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was playing and somebody pulled, hey, what school you go to? That's when you know you did what you're supposed to been doing.
Yep.
So I pulled you to the side and said, what school you going to? And she's like, I'm going to Dartmouth. And I'm like, bro, you need to transfer.
Yeah.
Because like, don't underestimate like having a clean slate. I didn't know you from anything. All I knew was what I saw.
Yeah.
Like, so you weren't typecast.
There was no expectations.
Yeah, there's no expectations. So it was just like, bro, because I always felt like you was one of the players that if you got around better players, your game would elevate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I looked at you as a pro.
Yeah.
I didn't know all this backstory. So look, like you could have been a pro. And like 6'9", can shoot the three, can finish around the rim, you know what I'm saying? Play smart, didn't do anything to hurt you.
Yep.
And like I said, your story needs to be told just like anybody else's because a lot of things come into play. Injuries, situations. Your coach might see you different than how I saw you as a player, and I'm a coach.
Or the system even. Just,
the system.
The way
you know
you're
what I'm
getting
saying?
used is...
So,
Yep.
I think it's like I said, your story should be told as well. Like it's a lot of kids out there like that. But you did a good job and you pivoted. So now you're working with the Stockbridge Group, Capital Group.
Stockbridge Capital Group.
What are you doing now? Like as far as like in your day-to-day?
Yeah, so I did an internship with them actually while I was playing with you guys back in, 22?
Mm-hmm.
So I was, I was kind of getting in the mix at that point, got my foot in the door, got the return offer about a year ago. So I've been working for about 13, 14 months now. But we're a commercial real estate private equity firm. So we do anything from multifamily to industrial to retail. We do some office as well. Mm-hmm. Both acquisitions and development, mostly acquisitions, but we have done here and there development when it's made sense. Lately for us, it's been purely acquisitions. Mm-hmm. But my job, I'm an analyst.
You go with the numbers.
Trying to get better. But yeah. I mean, I'm definitely in Excel grinding, financial modeling, just trying to better understand like what makes a real estate deal a good one. Mm-hmm. And then how do you manage a deal that you've got under your belt to make it better and to cash flow and to, I guess, make your investment plan and your business plan really take off from there. So it's been great. I'm my territories right now, New York, multifamily. I've got multi-industrial and retail in Houston and Austin. And then I've got kind of just scattered randomly Jersey, Cincinnati, Pennsylvania.
So y'all pretty much nationwide then.
And
and that's a wide range of niche. Like you're doing multifamily, industrial, what else?
Yeah, I'm getting exposure to pretty much all four of the major asset classes. So retail, office, multi, and industrial. And it's been, I'm grateful for it. I'm getting to see everything. I'm not getting pigeonholed in, let's say office. It would be tough to be in office right now. And it's good that I'm not, pigeonholed in office and retail only because there's opportunity everywhere. And
office been tough for the last about 8 years.
Yeah, really. It's COVID did numbers to office.
Everybody want to work from home.
Yep.
Man, What up, man? It's your boy Rashad, and I want to introduce you to my new community, the Post Pro community, where we talk everything from real estate development, capital markets, how to raise capital for deals. We have weekly meetings with experts, as well as myself and my extended team, my vendors, my architect, my civil engineer, my surveyor, my geotech, everybody who I'm involved with that helps put these deals together. We're going to have them come and speak to you as a community as well. So not only do you get me, you get my extended team. We have courses inside. We have challenges. We talk about health and fitness, and everything in between. So if you're interested in leveling up and building wealth with a group that actually does it, click the link below. I'll see you on the inside. So you're working with this big firm, you're nationwide, you're doing all 4 asset classes. What's some of the transferable skills from sports that you've used to excel you into the business world?
Yeah, I think there's 2 or 3 big ones. One, and I like to call them the non-negotiables, but you learn them naturally being an athlete. Like the non-negotiables of showing up on time, having a good attitude, staying late, kind of being first in, last to go. Like you understand that that's what it takes to be good as a hooper. That's what it's going to take to be good in anything. Really is a little bit of sacrifice. So that's been for me. I wouldn't say easy, but a natural kind of transition. I'm putting in the hours. I'm happy to be there. I'm willing to learn. I'm coachable. I'd say number 2 is just ability to communicate with people. It's pretty easy to fly under the radar on a corporate, in kind of a corporate environment, and just get in, do your work, get out, not ask questions, not really, try and get to know people better on a personal level, and kind of dig deep and ask like the real why questions that matter. And for me, I quickly realized like the only way to grow fast is to step out of your comfort zone, talk to talk to the managing director that's 30 years older than you, that looks scary and won't go out of his way to speak to you first.
Yeah.
Like kind of,
you got to break them down.
Exactly. You kind of got to step out of
contact.
Yep. So that's been really good for me is, I didn't have to take 2 years to realize that. It kind of started on day one. And that's prime example of like being on a team with a coach where you have to have that uncomfortable conversation, or that teammate maybe that's a little selfish, or maybe it's you that's, people are on your ass a little bit.
Yeah.
So
because we used to those situations, like being in uncomfortable situations, like, hey, I don't usually talk to the refs, but I got to go see what he saw on this. Like,
exactly.
Like what's going on, or going to the coach, like, hey, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah. How do I get more playing time? What's it going to take?
And it's a way you do it. It ain't, it's so you could do it the abrupt way, like, hey, but you'll get a different response.
Yep.
And then you can go and be like, hey, coach, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do?
Yep.
Okay. I can't play you late games because you're not good at free throws. All right, I'm gonna get in here Saturday, Sunday and shoot free throws. Because when you in here, you're gonna hear this ball bouncing in the gym. You're gonna see me in here putting in this work.
Exactly.
So all of those are transferable skills. And also too, one thing that I use was, in sports we watch film. We watch a lot of film, and a lot of people, a lot of my teammates. I can't speak for other teams. You have people going to sleep in film, you know what I'm saying? Like they think this is lollygag time.
Yeah.
But I was using that as a way to get an advantage. So as far as the transferable skills go, when I'm in the real estate development and I got to go to a zoning meeting, I'll go to a zoning meeting without my, zoning issue on the docket.
Yeah.
I'll go to someone else's zoning meeting and just to see who's on the panel.
Yeah.
See what their responses are. Seeing what the city want. Like that's film.
Yep.
That's seeing how I can get an advantage.
Yep.
So when I go up for my rezoning, I know how she reacts. I know how she reacts. He reacts. I know what they want. You know what I'm saying? I've done my due diligence. You know what I'm saying? So those are some of the transferable skills, and also mindset too. Like having a can-do attitude. Nothing's gonna stop me. If we down by 20 in the fourth quarter, instead of giving up, I'm trying to figure out how can I chip this away.
Yep.
All right, how can I get this down to 13 for the next media timeout? How can I get this down to 7?
Exactly.
Like those type of, like we never give up.
Yeah.
As long as I'm on the court, we got a chance. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm on the team, we got a chance. So that's kind of, how I approach things.
For sure. No, it's been similarly, like I've learned to balance, or I've been navigating asking for as much work as I can, because I know that, you know, trying to overextend myself is where I'm going to learn the most, but also not trying to ask for too much to where I'm making mistakes that are actually going to stunt me a little bit,
Right.
and you know, maybe lose some trust with some folks.
Pushing the issue, but not over leveraging yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now I know you're doing what you're doing with the Stockbridge Group.
Yep.
Where you at, and so what intrigued you about real estate development?
Yeah, no, I mean, different from what I'm doing essentially is that there's a tangibility to real estate development that maybe you don't have in the acquisition side, and more the corporate commercial side is. I just think it would be fascinating to have my hands in a ground up, you know, you go from a plot of land to a community, you know, a build for rent community, or, you know, maybe a retail space or whatever it is that not only is going to have a positive impact on the community and the economy, but it's, you know, let's say it's low, you know, or it's affordable housing, low income housing. That's going to change people's lives. You know, you're going to have a positive impact on folks, but you're also going to have like this creative autonomy to kind of design it how you want, how you think it's going to work. And you know, there's not necessarily a whole bunch of people outside of engineers and architects telling you like, hey, you can't do that, or you can't do this, which I think that'd be awesome to have. Truthfully, I don't have a lot of autonomy right now, and I kind of signed up for that. And, you know, I'm learning from other people, but I think that there's something cool about doing something entrepreneurial where you get to learn by making mistakes yourself, as long as the stakes aren't too high. Obviously, you don't want to lose money, but it just sounds fascinating.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. So let me ask you this: what would you tell someone who's transitioning from college, going into the business world, but they had aspirations of going professional, right?
Yep.
And then whatever the situation may be, whether it's been injuries, circumstance, you know, not getting enough playing time to be able to prove themselves. What advice would you give them transitioning over into the business world?
Yeah,
because it's probably 10,000 Cams out there.
For
you
sure.
gotta think everybody's picking up a ball.
Yeah,
you know, you got AAU, you got the club circuits. Like it's become like its own asset class. Like you got private equity firms that their only niche is sports.
Yeah.
And then you got another subcategory where it's youth sports. So it's a lot of kids out there with dreams, right?
Yep.
But what would you say to a kid out there that probably don't make it pro, and like don't look at yourself as a failure? Like just pivot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone should approach life the same way. Is no matter what you're doing, whether it's basketball or school or, you know, your social life, like the three pillars, I guess, of maybe any kid's life would be a sport, school, and then their girlfriend or their friends or whatever, their brothers, whatever. Figuring out how to be as good as you can at all three, and don't, I guess, I say this on a personal level, but like, I always thought that if I was going to be a basketball player, I had to put all my chips in that basket, and I wasn't allowed, like, if I tried to network or talk to someone about a job that I thought was interesting, that like it was just going to distract me from basketball and maybe, you know, convince me that I wasn't as serious as I should have been about hoops. Yeah. So I kind of put social, like I made a lot of sacrifices on the social level. Like I wasn't going to go out as much as a lot of my friends. I was going to stay in. I was going to go to the gym. I was going to make sure I'm rehabbing, getting 8 hours a night. And those are all great things. And I think very important if you want to be good at hoops. But at the same time, I think you can also be very good at going out, meeting people.
Got to be well-rounded.
As long as you're smart about it. You know, you don't want to be doing drugs, and, you know, you want to be smart about it. But you also want to have a balance. And I think on the business side, kind of setting yourself up for post-grad, a career, you know, a business career, whatever it is, do your work early. Start networking as a sophomore in college. You know, maybe take freshman year to have some fun, figure out where you're at. Sophomore year, get serious. Start calling people. Start taking notes. Start, you know, make a list of who you talk to, what they do, the advice they gave you, their phone number, and stay in touch with them. Because I think something I didn't start doing until I was, you know, end of my junior year was like, you know, maybe I should start getting serious and thinking about this. But I also had that other, you know, the devil's advocate on my other shoulder saying, you went to Dartmouth and you're playing ball. Like, it'll work itself out. But the sooner you can start planting those seeds, the better. It's just it's exponential from there.
Man, speaking of planting seeds, you did something that I tell all athletes to do, no matter if you're NBA, college on the borderline of trying to get to the league or playing overseas. You took an internship. You did an internship for 2 years in a row, right?
Yep, 2 summers.
Like that propelled you to be with a big time firm to now where you are immersed in, multifamily, industrial, single family, all the different asset classes that you're in, like preparation, like being prepared. Like I always tell people, it's not if, it's when. You're gonna have to retire.
It's gonna stop. Yeah.
And it's gonna stop whether you're ready or not.
Yeah.
So like how would you say the internships have helped you? Of course it helped you land a job, so you didn't have to be out here willy-nilly trying to figure it out.
Yep.
It allowed you to have a smooth transition. So what would you tell younger players to kind of encourage them to do more internships?
First and foremost, I would say that the best basketball, the most growth I had as a basketball player was the summers that I moved away from home to Atlanta, did an 8-hour-a-day internship, and then played in the Pro-Am with y'all and was working out 5 a.m. before work and then working out after work. Not only did that actually have monumental impact on me as a player, but it taught me how to like just go about life, because when hoops are over, it's going to feel maybe in the short term like you got all this free time in the world. But if you want to be good at a job and you want to grow in a job and make money and learn and, make progress like you would in a hoop career, it's going to take 12-hour days. It's going to take sacrifice. You're also going to have, that thought in the back of your mind about like family. You might have a girlfriend. You might have other things that are taking up your time. And for me, it really showed me how to like do several things at once. And then, the biggest bonus was I had the best summer of hoops that I've ever had.
Yeah.
I just got confident.
You was cooking that summer, bro.
Clear mind.
Like, I was like, yo, why can't I go pro? Like, you was
Yeah.
cooking that summer. But sometimes, and we'll speak to this in real time. Sometimes, man, a change of scenery will do you a whole lot of good.
Yeah.
Because in Dartmouth, it seemed like they put you in this box, like, this is Cam, this is what we're going to keep him, no matter how good, like, no matter what he does, you know what I'm saying? But when you come to Atlanta and you are really around NBA players, and it wasn't just Joe Johnson, it wasn't just Pargo, like, we had Jordan Hill, like, we had a lot of NBA players on the team.
Yep.
But you were starting over some of those NBA guys, and, like, without, like, never underestimate a fresh start. You know what I'm saying?
It was the best thing that happened to me because I think up to that point, I had always been in controlled environments where, people knew who my dad was and they knew who I was, and there was an expectation that like I was gonna do this or that. And walking into that gym the first day, not knowing a soul, not knowing anyone on the team, and just kind of having no weight on my shoulders to be able to do what I wanted, and honestly get treated like a pro where you either play well and you stay in the game, or you don't play well and this is going to end quick.
No strings attached.
Yeah.
Like, if you come in here and perform, you see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, for y'all in the audience, I wasn't playing in the pro, I was coaching. So for me, I'm going to put the best product out there on the floor.
Yeah.
And you was one of the 5, and it was like, man, like I said, I told you to transfer, but everything works out in due time, and we're going to talk about some more development stuff. I know you got to get out of here, so I'm going to give you one more question before I let you go. What advice would you give your freshman self walking onto a Division I campus as far as preparing for the future?
I would say, if I could whisper one thing in my ear, it would be, you're here for a reason. You got a great opportunity in front of you. Have fun, but treat it like you got to go and kill. Like, you're here to make friends and you're here to enjoy your college experience. But at the same time, like, if you want to make the most of it and get to the next level, you're gonna have to be able to flip that switch and turn into a killer, especially on the basketball court. For the most part, school and social life will fall into place. But there were days where I just I let things come to me rather than go and get them in practice or games. And I would say just, no one's going to believe in you more than yourself at the end of the day.
You got to have that self-confidence.
You could go chase coach's blessing and your teammates' blessing, but like at the end of the day, they could all believe in you, and you still got to go out there and do your thing and believe in yourself.
Yeah, man. Having self-confidence and having a positive self-image of how you view yourself is invaluable.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, what are some of your future plans? You know, what do you have planned from here? So now we got Cam, grew up in the NBA environment, went to an Ivy League school. Now you're pivoting into, you know, private equity, wanting to get into real estate development. What's next for you?
Man, that's a good question. Admittedly, I'd be lying if I said that there were other things that I wanted to try, like soon. You know, I'm being a young guy and having some leverage to maybe go try something else and fail a little bit. And, you know, maybe it's a side hustle, real estate. I think one thing high on my list would be to get a duplex and maybe live in it for a year, fix it up, you know, rent out the other side, see what I can do, start operating kind of on my own. You know, I've seen so many people and read enough books to know that like there's an element of just being willing to kind of jump out there and see what happens. And I've said, you know, Atlanta is not a super expensive place. It's the beauty of being here, and cost of living is not too high. So I am saving some money, and I'm preparing for that. I'd love to get a little more involved in the community too. I think they're not being able to play ball anymore. Like that environment allowed me to meet so many people, and I'm trying to have an impact. So, you know, whether that's charity work or any number of things, really. I think if I could get my feet in a basketball setting still, whether it's working with kids or I don't know, maybe a local high school or a prep school or something, and just trying to get more involved.
Staying around the game.
You
know, and also giving back to the youth and stuff like that. Basically, right?
Trying to be a mentor. Like I feel like I learned so much in my experience from the wrong thing, you know, the mistakes and the successes, and I would love to be able to help some other people, you know, figure it out a little bit. But I do think there is an element of not having any guidance and kind of going and figuring out yourself too. So
definitely, man. Speaking of helping other people, if you ever need some help with getting that first duplex, let me know.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a renovation or you want to build it from the ground up,
Yep.
I'll definitely help you. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, developing athletes. I want to be a liaison and a help of what I'm already doing. And kind of, I mean, you're probably going to do it anyway, but I just want to accelerate your process and make sure you don't make a lot of mistakes along the way.
For sure. No, I'm taking you up on that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you know where I'm at.
No, it's
so
good.
Pull up.
It's good we connected, man. I'm
for sure. And we stayed connected for a reason, because from the time I met you, I knew you was a good guy. You played hard, and you know, I just kind of knew you was a good guy. So I know you got to get out of here. So where can they find you, Cam?
Man, LinkedIn, I'd say that's number one. Cam Krystkowiak on a professional level. Instagram is Cam Krystko. You know, I'm not heavy on Instagram anymore, but those two spots for sure. If you ever want to network or, you know, talk chop or whatever, just LinkedIn's probably the best option.
See, look, if I was your brand manager, I would be like, Cam Krystko. He cooking like Krystko. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on the Developing Athletes podcast. And, you know, for any of you other athletes out there, find an excuse to win, baby. Holla at me.
Appreciate you.